Hey everyone, Sleepat with another Exceed commentary, and today we have Game 2 of a set between D and Zain. This is a part of the Hallowed Knights tournament. I guess I should be doing this kind of intro for Game 2, huh? I guess I'm kind of ruining the immersion, but today's a new day, if you couldn't tell, so I'm doing a fresh intro. We saw... So I actually saw Game 3 and Game 4 already. I decided to commentate those before Game 2 just because this game was significantly longer, coming in about like 44 minutes. But obviously I'll post them in order, and then this kind of meta commentary won't make sense. But so far the situation is that D has won Game 1 with Carmine over Zane's Yuzuriha, and of course, per the rules of the tournament, D can now choose a new character in his roster to try to get a win with, whereas Zain must stick on the Yuzuriha. I believe D has Merkava and Sagat left in his roster. And of course, Zain has Aurier and probably Viper, if I had to guess. I don't remember who the third character that Zain picked was, but probably the Viper. But regardless, that doesn't really matter. We have Zain on the Yuzuriha here. Looks like D has made his choice. I hope I didn't trim this like the first video. I had like 4 or 5 minutes of dead air, but no, looks like we're getting into the game here. D's gonna be rocking that Merkava, another season 6 matchup, another season 6 versus season 6 excuse me matchup here. Should be an interesting one just because Yuzuriha really likes to be closer than Merkava, probably, if I had to guess. Just because she has a lot of brawly type cards. You know, she has an extra focus, she has like an extra assault, she has like an extra spike. She has a mid speed in over here, like a really interesting, potentially really good mid speed. In over here, it looks like D will take first on that Merkava. Merkava is a slippery boy. He likes to move around a lot, stand at weird, awkward ranges, and then quickly change that range once your opponent reacts to it. So this should be an interesting matchup. I don't think I've ever actually played this particular matchup before from either side. So yeah, looks like Zain is still attempting to, or not attempting, but still looking at what cards to mulligan. I don't remember if I made a comment on this board, but man, this board is ugly. I don't like it at all. It's very busy. It's very the blue versus red, I think, is a cool like theming, but then like the gauge areas are much too large. There's no deck discard slots. I don't know if I complained about. Did I complain about this mat yesterday or 2 days ago? Let me. If I did, then I guess I won't again. Won't bore you with that. But no, I mean the circles for the standees are cool, but doesn't really port well onto balanced breakfast unless there are standees coming in which case that would still not port well because the standees would be like 3-dimensional, and that would look weird. So it looks like Zain has mulliganed one. Don't know how many D is mulliganed. Looks like D starting with the Jormungandr. Is that how I pronounce that? Jormungandr boost. Your normal attacks have +1 to range. After, if you did not play normal, sustain this. Very, very solid turn 1 play. Just means that so many of those the fast normals hit and the slow normals hit as well at range 4. So Yuzuriha is really, really incentivized to move in when you see this kind of boost come out, and maybe D has a plan for that afterward. Of course, the boost sustains itself. I actually think I forgot that yesterday. I forgot the sustain. I thought that would return to hand like Waldstein's does, but I guess Jormungandr sustains itself when you don't do it. Looks like a reading coming out from Zain. We know Zain is really a fan of these early readings. So let's see if he gets this one right. Reading and playing an EX as well, like reading what, like a sweep or something. D maybe considering playing EX. Now D playing Super EX. Now he's okay. Oh, looks like the reading has whiffed. EX Cross is almost assuredly going to beat anything that that Yuzuriha throws out. Doesn't even need the cross. The cross will hit on top of that. Breathe Out will also probably win a lot of combats, assuming this is not EX Dive, which is not because Dive was discarded. No, it is the EX Saki. Um, wow. Okay, just an attempt at a hard call out. There from Zain. We know he likes to go for these early hard callouts. Doesn't pan out here. Jormungandr still continues to be boosted at range 6. And of course, D chooses to veil off at this point to get that more reliable movement with the action without bleeding the hand info as well. Looks like D will now flip back. Looks like he just does this to build gauge. More so than the action, looks like. More so than the reliable movement. As we see the Iris Blade boosted from Yuzuriha, so Yuzu will add the top 2 cards from her deck to her gauge, and then draw 1 for end of turn. Honestly, not a bad pull. Pulls the Super Focus Like, and then pulls the Ultra as well, which means that second copy of Kasha will be pretty massive, as D boosts Superior in turn. Looking at the hand, I mean, range 6 means that only the range 4 normal will hit, which is, or the range, let me think. Yeah, dive will hit, but every other normal will miss. D just preps again. Of course, a long range option for Merkava. Merkava has 3 long range options at range 6. He has Coffee. He has, alongside the dive, the range boosted dive, he has Coffee. He has the dive like, the 1-3, advanced 3. And he also has, of course, I Persistently Cling. Which can be pretty annoying for... Actually, Yuzu can deal with it pretty well, as looks like Zain will opt to Exceed. The gauge here... The gauge situation is not fantastic. There's a bunch of slows and like a random spike. And that Ultra also sitting there. So I'm wondering what the plan is for Yuzu. But maybe Zain will spend cards like move in and then have like a guaranteed option at the end. Who knows? Also, probably maybe for the future as well. Just like this strike is looking pretty tough for Zain to win unless he spends resources to move in. Maybe like a respect or something like that. As it looks like, what is D trying to do? Is he trying to spend force or something? It does have a full hand, so yep. We'll spend 1 force, move to range 5. Range 5 is much better because the range 3 mix-up will hit at, or range 3 mix-up of Assault Dive Spike will hit at range 5 due to the Jormungandr boost. So back to Yuzu, who will flip back and then respect. So it looks like both these players are actually just using their flip actions to get the flip back and go again. As D will boost mix up, take a step back to range 3, has the known cross in hand. Don't think the cross is coming out. Cross seems like a weird combat card to play here, but those range 1 normals will be able to hit at range 3. At basically every normal will hit except for Assault and Dive, I believe, at this range. So a little bit of a spooky mix up here coming from D. Let's see if Zain can call it right. It is the grasp? It is the focus. Okay. So the grasp will hit for 2 damage overall. Focus, of course, will not be able to hit back. But Zain successfully diffuses the Superior and Jormungandr combo and draws a card off it as well. So actually really well done there from Zain. To not lose too much value there in that strike, especially given a rather scary boost suite from Merkava. Sorry, just checking to make sure that thing's recording. We had a problem a couple days ago where it wasn't, but looks like we are good on that. Yuzuriha boosting Ain't So Lost +1 power +1 speed, immediately matched by the second copy of Superior from Merkava, which was known. Really like, it's really cool to have Superior uncrossed because it feels like if you didn't need to run, Cross was just such a good combat card in a lot of situations. Just like being able to dodge everything, so safe. But that Superior boost is really, really good. Looks like an Unsheath coming out from Yuzu. What are the threats here? Threats here would be like a speed 5 spike. 3 slows in there though. However, the slows do get +2 speed, so this is +3 power, +2 speed, now strike. So the slows, like the slows become pretty quick, all things considered. So this is gonna be tough. Tough choice for D, who just has he goes for the agitate and gets spiked. That's sad. The spike was a 1 in 5. Um, what would the agitate even beat? Wait, what would agitate beat? That was a +2 power, +2 speed. What does agitate beat? Doesn't agitate get stunned by everything? I don't know what the. I don't know what the. Yeah, agitate gets stunned by everything. That. Oh, it's EX agitate. Okay, so it would beat the It beats the Kiri and loses to everything else. Strange. I feel like at that point you just wild swing, no? Because of course, the Kiri was 3 speed. The agitate was only 4 speed. Everything in Zane's gauge aside from that Kiri is 4 speed or greater and would get stunned because they all have more than 6 power. So yeah, a little bit of interesting play there. Well, Merkava's on the other side of the board, due to the UA, I'm assuming. Yeah, it looks like he flipped this, deflipped the sweep, and Merkava will fly again to the other side of the board, drawing that focus as well. This is just what Merkava does, man. This is Merkava, standard Merkava gaming. One of the more annoying characters in season 6 to fight against, in my opinion, just for this reason. He's so slippery, so hard to catch him. And then Yuzu, especially a character that doesn't really thrive too well from far away. Like the only ranged option you really have is your range 4 spike, and your EX Tachi, I believe the card is called, the 3-5-7-1, which is not a good shape by any stretch of the imagination, but actually, both those are down as well. Yuzu does have, however, Swift and Deadly, just an insanely good boost. Advance or Retreat 2, then Strike. So Yuzu, like, this boost is insane. Like, Yuzu's card quality is honestly so good. And her boosts are pretty good as well. Looks like the Eye Defile. Oh, good call out there from Zain. Says, okay, I think you're going for a fast option that's not going to do any damage, or a slow option. I mean, that catches both, right? So catches the Eye Defile, because Eye Defile only does 2. The Spike Light hits back for 5. Not really a whole lot that beats that card, just because, like, Breathe Out uses standing middle of the board, so that Spike hits 2-4. It looks like we have a Just Defense coming out here. Just Defense. Ooh, okay, Just Defense, I Breathe Out, interesting. We'll do 3 after armor. Usually doesn't have, or I guess not after armor. I guess after 0 armor does 3, sure, yeah. Usually we'll take 3. Merkava steps back to range 4, has that Breathe Out on top of deck again. I expect to see a big change cards action coming out here from Yuzu with only 1 card in hand and just a bunch of gauge. No, Yuzu will actually choose to step in instead. Says, okay, I don't want to take the 3 damage from the I Breathe Out now. Let me step in, and then I mean Merkava can't really fly away from the situation too far either. Just because that Breathe Out is on top of deck, it will only be advanced 3. So now a change cards action is looking pretty good for Yuzu. Good call there from Zain. Nope. Zain says, let me push the gas even further. We're looking at this. We've got a lot of slows in here at the very least, and it does not the +2 speed. It's only the +1 speed. So let's see how D responds with this. D responds with Assault, trying to trade. And we'll beat out the Tachi. Okay. Such is the problem with Yuzu RNG. Like, if you don't really guarantee those, like, you're not really guaranteed a hit. Saw 2 Tachis in there that would have lost. The Assault would have won. Kurenai would have lost, and Kiri would have traded. I mean, okay, so I mean, 3 cards that lose to the Assault as D pulls the I Resentfully Rage and just flies to the other side of the board. Forgot to flip back before doing that, and then now flies to the other side of the board. Well, are we allowing that? Technically, I feel like you shouldn't allow that, but whatever. I guess these guys have allowed that. Zain just sits and preps at range 6, a little bit far away. For Yuzu, obviously, Merkava can function at range 6. But Yuzu has a ton of force in that gauge. Just going to spend 2 to move into range 4. Interestingly enough, down both Tachis, however. As a second copy of Jormungandr gets boosted at range 4. Makes sense to me. Those range 3 normals will hit at range 4 now. As will, I guess crosses are down. Grasp wouldn't hit. The slow normals would hit as well. I don't. We see one copy of sweep, one copy of focus. Maybe 2 copies of one of those cards is down, but I don't remember which one. Back to Zain here, who, while it feels like he's landed a couple big hits, Merkava's little tiny baby arms have just been chipping away as well on Yuzu's health. Both players down to exactly 17 HP. Okay, Zain opting to prep again. Okay, interesting. The instant flight boost coming out from Merkava. So that's a before reveal the top card of your deck, advance or retreat X. Really interesting, actually. I did not expect to see this boost come out after the Jormungandr. I wonder what D's planning here. Of course, there is a little bit of RNG with this card because it does require the top card of your deck, and there's a couple ways to manipulate that. But it looks like the instant flight gets teched anyway. But the Jormungandr is still in play, interestingly enough. I would have expected the tech hit to be on the Jormungandr and then just play like a slow as Yuzu, but maybe Zain has gone through a lot of slows. Maybe he just doesn't even have one. But no, that Jormungandr is still in play. Maybe he's going for the second Casho. That's not a bad call out there at speed 6. Unfortunately, we'll lose the Eye Defile. Just a dive, huh? I feel like dive loses a lot of combats there. But no, D just plays that Eye Defile at range 4. 4 power, 8 speed, 4 gauge, so pretty expensive. But it's a combat win, and you get your Jormungandr sustained as well. So D willing to make that play. Now here comes the wide. Plus 0 to 1 range. Will retreat 1. So now his normals have plus 1 to 3 range, and his specials have plus 0 to 1 range. Yuzu says, okay, that's enough. Let me step forward to range 1. We saw D in the future do something really cool with this kind of strike. But no, it just says, okay, let me boost with my UA. Move to range 5. Yuzu does draw the 2 cards, but at range 5, she's going to have to move in to do anything. Especially against the plus 1 to 3 max, the plus 1 to 3 range represented on the normals, and the plus 0 to 1 range on the specials that Merkava is currently threatening. Both points I feel like are actually running low on deck sizes. I think Merkava has a reading left. Yuzu does not, however, because Yuzu tried to strike with that dive last combat. Here comes the Superior from Yuzu at range 5. We know both of the 3 to 5 7 ones are down. Just trying to force out like a tech on the Kling or something. Don't really know what's going on there. Maybe Yuzu saying, I think you're not ready to strike this turn, so I'm just gonna play Cross and Hope. I guess D doesn't have a known Breathe Out in hand at the very least. He has the Dive like. But then Yuzu can of course trade up with something like an EX Focus or an EX Kiri. I mean, if Merkava has a spike left, then this is just incredibly sad. Well, I mean, it's going to be a reading to try to guarantee a hit from D. I wonder what he's going to read here. I don't think he's going for that Agitate. I feel like he's just going for like a spike hit. We'll probably read like Focus, if I had to guess, and go for the spike. Notably, Yuzu, if there's no focus in hand, Yuzu can dodge a spike with her Assault Shape. I forget what it's called, but it's a 1 to 3 4 5. Oh, it's the one with etc. in it. So Yuzu can in theory dodge the spike here. It's not guaranteed. Let's see if the reading lands, however. I think D is still actually considering what normal to read. Read Spike. Okay, Read Spike and actually hits the sweep. Okay, so this is safer. Because there's no way to actually catch the sweep. This sweep is range 2 to 5, so it doesn't have the same issues that I was referring to with the Spike call. Pulls a card as well. Really kind of sad. Yuzu would have needed like a cross to outrange the range 5 sweep. Just kidding. Cross doesn't even work. That sweep was 2 to 6. That sweep is basically like a Go-Do range. Yeah, you can't dodge that as Yuzu, unfortunately. Oh wait, no, you can. You can dodge that as Yuzu. You need Kasho. I mean, it costs 2 gauge, as Yuzu spends 1 force from gauge to move to range 4. Is Yuzu out of range 4 options, though? Because both Tachis are down, both Dives are down, both... Oh, Kasho, of course. Kasho is left. 1 to 4, 7, 6. As Merkava will retreat 1, which is honestly, like, retreating 1 is totally enough. In this scenario where Yuzu's now at range 5, Yuzu will have to move in again. So yeah, honestly, like, while it looks like a bad pull there, that's actually totally acceptable, I think, for Merkava. Gets that slithering boost as well if he so chooses to boost it next turn. A Just Defense from this range. What could this be? This feels very expensive compared to a move action. And we know it's not the 3 to 5 7 1. There's no way. What is this? Is this the assault shape to advance 3 afterward? If so, D should just answer with an agitate. Capture and Devour is looked at here by Mix. Puts Merkava at range 1, however. But Merkava can obviously yoink advantage and just fly back. I have no idea what this is. Whatever it is, it's preventing that coffee shape from being played, but I feel like you just respond with Agitate, yeah. Okay, I mean, it's just a block. Okay. I mean, this was a cute play. Forces D to spend the Agitate, but you spend 2 cards in response for that, so... I don't, Okay. Okay. I could see, like, the logic behind it, the play, at least. Alright. Back to Zain here. D just decided to prep after that. Sitting pretty at range 5. We're now zooming in on Persistently Cling. Good card. Saki, both copies of that are down. Zain maybe checking his own discard, maybe thinking of reshuffling here. Down both blocks. Down all of his ranged options, save for 1 Kasho. Which doesn't even work at range 5. Yeah, I mean, pretty good bait overall. Because that Agitate would just push back, and that's just an annoying tool to deal with. Big change cards, maybe? 5, 6, 7. Change card 7, drawing 8. We'll have to discard 1 card down. Reveals the cross and the assault shape. Etc. We'll draw 7, I believe, on top of that. We'll probably have to discard the cross down. Actually, I don't even think you have to discard the cross. Maybe both rings are down. / are you okay with getting your cross red? Maybe you are. Because what's the punish? The punish is that coffee? Is there a better punish? Because everything else is too slow and cross will move out of range. Oh, the punish is cling, of course. Like you can have your cross red and then cling. For 7 damage, and Zain already down to 14 life. As D draws his character card. They were at range 5, so yep, there we go. Zain, of course, has to discard for the end of his turn. Has to discard 2 cards. Probably does need to get rid of that cross, because assuming there's a reading left on D's side, Read cross into cling is just insane. Drops the etc., which I think is not the correct drop. Maybe it is given the hand, but Swift and Deadly is such a good boost, I think, in this matchup, especially in a matchup where Merkava is trying to outzone you. Swift and Deadly is so important. Drops the Casho as well. I guess he has no gauge for it. Casho could have been a potential win con though. Casho is just it's the win con that I like to go for a lot on Yuzu. Maybe Zain has a different plan. So it's interesting to see him drop those two cards, but clearly he's got better cards in his hand, and maybe that Casho is like a little bit of a pipe dream right now with zero gauge. But I guess if you're planning on making a comeback in this game, Yuzu needs to build gauge somehow, right? So maybe not. Back to D here, sitting at range 5. What's going on here? Feels like the video's like frozen, but I think D's just thinking and or AFK. We'll just let the silence kind of stew as this match comes through, as this game comes to a crescendo. And or maybe I should cut this part out of the video, but I didn't. Obviously, I didn't see the video beforehand. But it appears as if one and or both of these players are AFK. Although I did just see D's mouse move. Maybe he's like lagging or something. His ping did just spike to 500, 600. Also, I don't know why I'm talking like this is the present. This match happened 2 weeks ago. Okay, looks like right back into it. He prepares. Easy boosting that respect that was drawn off the top. So obviously Zain drew like 7 cards off the top of his deck. So and as a season 6 character, surely you're bound to draw one of the movement options as well. Merkava boosting air dash or spending 1 force to move back, depending on how you want to look at things. So Yuzu will get to draw her 2. And at range 3, which seems pretty preferable for Yuzu, actually. Like, this is as good as a strike's going to get against Merkava. So I do expect to see some kind of strike here. Maybe like a superior would also be fine. Just to attempt to contest the 6-speed Eye Capture and Devour, aka Coffee. That's why I refer to Eye Capture and Devour is I always call it Coffee because I'm a Swangy player. It's basically just Coffee at 3 to 6 1 6 hit gain advantage, and I guess you also close, but the spirit of the card is just very much Coffee. Same looking at that gauge, only 2 gauge, so the Eye Defile is not live yet. I think actually both of those are down, so it doesn't actually matter. D, of course, hasn't reshuffled yet, so his last couple options are starting to get more and more known. Maybe Yuzu can take advantage of that with a potential reading play. Something to watch out for. Like I said, this is not a live video, so I can't actually mouse over and see how many cards D has left in his deck, but it looks like it's less than 5, honestly. Just judging by how thick the deck looks from this view. If I had to guess, it's like less than 5. Here comes the Swift and Deadly moving back to... And... What? Is this coffee bait? I think this is coffee bait. Surely this is coffee bait. It's not coffee bait? No, what's... Oh, okay, now we're taking it back. I guess Zain just forgot coffee was a card that Merkava has. Merkava also has like a dive shape as well that works. Instead, I guess was gonna strike with that Saki. Instead, boosting come at me +3 power at the start of your turn. Add this to gauge. Notably, unlike Mole Knight's come at me, this does not draw you a card at the start of your turn, which is weird to me because they're exactly the same boost except for that one little tiny aspect of it. I believe Phonons doesn't draw you a card either. Are there other characters in earlier seasons that have come at me? As Yuzu will have to discard again. Why does Yuzu have so many? Oh, Yuzu has so many cards because she drew at the start of her turn from Respect. Dropping the Spike, interestingly enough. I guess Yuzu has a second copy of Spike that's more threatening in terms of having a longer range, so maybe that Spike feels a little superfluous in Zane's hand, so I guess that's why he dropped it. Yeah, but I feel like Come At Me is in Mole Knight's deck. I don't know if it's in any other Exceed character's deck, but Mole Knight gets to draw a card at the start of his turn. Yuzu does not, and neither does Phonon, so... Huh. Anyways, this like heavily disincentivizes Merkava from striking this turn, so Merkava will probably be... Oh, no, Merkava's going for it. This is spicy. This is really pushing the envelope, unless this is like an unbeatable EX, which I doubt it is. This is really spicy from D. This is really pushing the envelope. And the reading misses as well, only a sweep and cross in hand. Oh my. What EX could this be? Is this EX drill through, perhaps? And then you respond with a sweep. Is this EX the EX dive like the 1-3-4-4? In which case you also respond with sweep. I don't know what else this could be really. This feels like really like pushing the envelope to me. It is EX drill through, so this is gonna be a 6 power drill through. Or maximum 6 power drill through. I'm assuming D will spend the full force on it. Yeah, he will. Yuzu will take 6 damage. Be down to 2 HP. And Merkava will take 9 back. Or 8 after armor, excuse me. Drops the I Persistently Cling. Good pull. We did take a quick glimpse at that discard count. That discard count is 25, which means that with 3 in hand, 1 in deck, there's 3 cards left in deck. Yuzu has a shot at this, honestly. I think Yuzu has a legitimate shot. Just needs to win 2 combats. The one unfortunate side is that the hand isn't known from Yuzu, so like no quote-unquote tricks coming out. But, I mean, Yuzu is such a powerhouse character. 2 combats and this game's over for Merkava. Merkava doesn't have a lot of options left either. Huh. Felt a little bit like pushing the envelope there as far as the reading's concerned. If there was like a range 3 mix-up option, maybe would have preferred to see D go for something like just playing 1 as he opts for the reshuffle action here. Notes the same thing that we did after the superior boost from Yuzuriha. Notes that, hey, not too many options left. Let's get those all back. As Yuzu will continue to boost. This is now +2 power, +1 speed, +1 armor, +1 guard. Just a simple prepare action from D back to Yuzu. I don't know how many blocks are left for Merkava. That's something to watch out for. Range 1. Nope, we're taking a step back. The only question we must ask ourselves now is this a spike from Yuzu? It's an over here. It's a 9 power over here. It's 9 power EX over here, rather. So it gets blocked successfully by D. That's the one downside of it's like I don't know. I like going for it's like the spike mix discard there earlier. A lot of people get caught by mix-up into Spike. And that's kind of like a cute play that I like to go for. Zain says, no, let me go for the more stable play of the EX over here. Unfortunately, it does get blocked. Merkava will obviously retreat 3 with that I Breathe Out. Moving back to range 5. Notably, this means that Yuzu has to move in even further because I Breathe Out is such a such a good option that will dodge any slows that Yuzu throws afterward, i.e. the Tachi. So Yuzu really does have to move to range 2 here to contest the I Breathe Out. Unless, of course, she has EX Assault, which we know she doesn't. And we know she doesn't have the Casho either, which would be another option, but Zain discarded that earlier as well. Also, Casho is bad here because Casho doesn't stun, so you really need Casho to kill. Otherwise, Merkava will just hit back. As we see +1 power, +1 speed boosted from Yuzu at range 5. This feels sketchy to me. The only question is, does D have the punish? So like Coffee would punish. The Dive Like would punish as well. Well, D has a strike this turn. Okay. What will Yuzu respond with? Yuzu responds with a block. So the boost is wasted. Rampage will be 4 power. Yuzu has to block all of it or die. Probably should spend the gauge. Spend the over here. Take nothing. A little bit of a wasted. Inochi Kurenai gets added to gauge at the very least. Merkava does find himself at range 1, which could be problematic. Notably, that I Defile does not kill at range 1, only does 1 damage. Of course, the second Kurenai gets added to gauge per the effect on Ainsel Lost. Ainsel Lost? Is that the boost name? / am I pronouncing that correctly? I don't know. Back to Zain here. Four cards in hand. A bunch of those are known. I don't know them. I don't remember them, but they are known. Maybe like a couple of them are. Still frankly winnable position from Yuzu because that block reading coming out. That is. I hope it's not reading into a risky card because that is only 2 cards in hand. That is. That's swinging for the fences a little bit, but maybe he's just trying to confirm a card that's only slightly risky. Reading whiffs will just be a block, coffee, and a breathe out. D probably just has to block this. Can go for a wild swing, but block is just safer. Like something like a block into a retreat with the UA. And yeah, D goes for the block. It is the assault shape, however, so the assault shape will advance 3. Advancing 3, however, means that coffee shape will now be above curve at range 3. Only doing 1 damage, but Yuzu does gain advantage off it as well. So it is her turn again. Big CC coming out from Yuzu, maybe? Perhaps? CC5? Maybe he wants to drop the etc. instead, only CC4. Maybe the fifth card does matter though. As far as searching through the deck, 13 cards left in deck as mix as shown. So we have CC5, drawing 6, discarding 1. So like we're looking for like an EX Assault basically, as well as an EX. EX Tachi loses to the coffee, but yeah, Zain will have to discard 1. CC5 actually probably makes more sense than CC4, honestly. Drops the Assault. Okay. Was EX Assault not an option as D just prepares? Okay. Alright. Back to Zain. Yeah, maybe that EX Assault was never an option. That Yuzu wanted to represent. Notably, D does have 3 gauge for top deck I Defile, which would be speed 8 and hit for 3, and which would be very sad for Yuzu. But I think at this point you just have to, when you're down this much life and you need to take a little bit of a risk, you just need to play like he doesn't have it, I think, unfortunately. Right, because you can't really strike with focus. You can strike with a block, I guess, on defense, but... Okay, interesting. That gets boosted. That's a +2 power cleanup off your stun, sustain this. So basically a +2 power. D in turn boosts slithering before advance or retreat 1. Pretty solid boost, honestly. Notably, Yuzu does have 7 power options that can kill Merkava here. Notably, one of those options is down, being Kasho. Kasho cannot kill, as Yuzu boosts air dash, moving to range 1. I guess the EX Assault was never on the table then, as far as threats that Yuzu wanted to represent go. Moving to range 1, however, Yuzu does have a couple 7 power moves. The one that is down, which is kind of sad, is actually Kasho, and that's only down because Sweep is the highest power card in Yuzu's gauge and only does 6. So that Kasho would only do 8 instead of 9. Which means you can't kill, and then you're giving Merkava a turn. It's a whole ordeal. As D just prepares again. Yuzu maybe thinking of lining up an EX. I mean, this EX feels like it would be it would be relatively telegraphed. +2 power means that like EX sweep, or I guess EX sweep is not a possibility, but like a 6 power EX would kill. As Yuzu pumps the Saki in. D boosting instant flight, going for the Eye Defile combo. Or like threatening the Eye Defile combo, of course. Yuzu can now kill with Kasho. That Kasho would be 9 power. However, pales in speed, comparing to the Eye Defile, of course, at speed 8. Can like read. We've seen Zain go for these it's kind of quote unquote risky readings. Maybe a reading's an option for him at this point. Only 4 cards in D's hand though, so not super likely to hit. Especially because D just reshuffled as well. But read something, play Kasho just for the win. Seems like a line that Zain might go for. What are other lines that Zain could go for? I don't know. You can tech hit the breathe out and force the defile to come out and like force the mix up there. If you tech the instant flight and play the focus from Yuzu, does that kill? No, it doesn't. It leaves D on 1 HP. Because that Eye Defile would do 2, which means that the Focus would have 6 base power plus 2 is 8. So that's not even a killing line either. So maybe Zain just tries to go for a kill here. I mean, Zain can go for a kill with the reading. Looks like the reading is coming out here. Let's see if Zain can land it. He's been whiffing readings. Oh, the reading hits. It's an over here. So 2/3 chance to kill. Let's see what he pulls. If he pulls the sweep or the 7 power, he is dead. And yep, D is dead. Zain takes game 2 with the reading there. D reveals that he has the Eye Defile. Actually, low-key, super risky play there from Zain. Even though it worked out. Chances of a reading, unfortunately I can't calculate them offhand because I don't know how many cards are in the deck, but weren't super high. And that over here wasn't even a guaranteed kill. It was only a 2 and 3 if the reading hit, so a little bit risky, but things do work out for Zain there. Zain takes game 2. Check out game 3 and game 4 on the channel. They'll be below in the description, whatever. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and the commentary. If you did, leave a like, leave a comment, leave a subscribe, all that good stuff. And we will see you for game 3 and game 4 and potentially game 5 of the set. All right, guys, take care.